Today I want to look at and attempt to solve a massive Oasis-related mystery. Amongst many fans there is a rumour, a conspiracy theory if you like, that the journey of the band was actually to some level kind of planned out in advance, and that in their music there is a series of hints pointing to the idea that they may actually know a little more than they sometimes let on. One of the most seemingly impossible of these clues is going to be addressed in the video today, and I wonder if it will convince you. But first, let me set the scene. On the 16th of August 2019, Liam Gallagher released a song called One of Us. It's a really good song and it's clearly aimed lyrically at his brother Noel, from whom at the time he was estranged. Come on, I know you want more. Come on and open your door. After it all you'll find out you were always one of us. Act like you don't remember, you said we'd live forever. Oasis originally split on August the 28th, 2009, and 10 years later to the day, Liam Gallagher released the music video for this song. And as you might have expected, the whole thing lines up with the clear theme of the lyrics. We see Liam walking amongst a field of memories from his childhood, which are family photographs which his mum Peggy provided for the shoot. We also see three child actors who represent the three Gallagher brothers, Liam, Noel and Paul. And we also regularly see a set of three seats, Noel, the middle child, being represented by the empty one in the middle. When I first watched the video through, I thought some of these images were maybe just the director being artistic, just choosing things because they worked well. That was until I read this quote from Liam. Liam Gallagher has revealed that the video for his new single, One of Us, features a whole heap of hidden messages for Oasis fans to find. The music video was directed by Anthony Byrne, the director of Peaky Blinders, and it was also written by Academy Award nominee Stephen Knight, who was also the writer of Peaky Blinders. Stephen Knight is, at the time of filming, actually writing the next James Bond movie, so the writer for this music video was of the highest calibre and right at the top of his game, which means it's probably fair to assume that this music video has a little more to it than your average. Let's see if we can find and decode the hidden messages. We'll start with the broadest overview. We'll start by just combing through it once on the surface level. The video has a subtitle as it opens, The Ballad of the Blue-Eyed Boy. And of course, that's Liam Gallagher himself, who has blue eyes. And during the opening minute or so of the video, we get what looks like Liam kind of walking through a dream world of his memories. And this lines up with the lyrics that are kind of looking back over the past years. And this is just one of many examples in the video of what Liam is singing actually happening in the symbolism of the shoot. There's a line in the song that says, "When you come to mind, disappear 1,000 times." And pretty much every time we see the child actor playing Noel, he disappears right after, while the other two, Liam and Paul, are visible much more. In the choruses we have Liam asking Noel to open your door, and then Liam reaches a dark warehouse door, which he opens and goes inside to have a look around. This is Liam going in Noel's door from the lyrics, and we know it's Noel's door, the one that he shut and Liam is asking him to open, because etched on the door is the date when Noel shut the door on Liam. The 28th of the 8th, 2009, the day Noel left Oasis. This is a visual representation of exactly what the lyrics are talking about. And while the inside of Liam's mind is portrayed as open and a bit wild, the more, Noel's is depicted as a dark, dank warehouse, unwelcoming and closed off. Liam walks to the back of it and we see the three chairs again, lined up facing a screen, with a film projector trained directly onto Noel's chair, projecting its shadow onto a blank screen behind. We saw earlier in the video that middle chair represents Noel himself, so the picture here is that Noel lives in a dark, closed-off world, watching a screen on which only his face is constantly projected. And that idea of his mind's eye being focused only on himself is probably also a reference to the Roll With It single cover by Oasis, in which each member of the band is watching something on TV. Each member of the band picked someone they admired to be on their particular TV screen, except for Noel, who chose himself. So that might be what the writer and director are referencing in this scene. Liam then leaves the dark warehouse and returns to the moor. And really, that's the top level of the music video's meaning explained. It's Liam pleading with his brother Noel to stop being so isolated and to be reconciled. And within that, there's actually a little bit of fun wordplay going on with Liam Gallagher being up on the moor. You know that line where he's saying, "You know you're not done with your relationship with me. Come on, I know you want more." Well, I wonder if that was a kind of Beatlesque wordplay being done intentionally. I know you want more, and where does Liam appear? On the moor. Saddleworth Moor, to be specific. Now, I don't know if that was intentional, but if it was, bravo. And that little bit of Lennon-style wordplay moves us nicely down to the middle level, into the symbolic level of the video. Throughout the video, we see the constant theme of the number 3. We see 3 things, all of which are the same, but one of them is just slightly different. We have 3 more or less identical chairs. The middle one is just slightly different because it's got armrests. The image of 3 white horses also repeatedly appears. 2 of them are fully white, and one of them actually has a few dark patches. We have 3 kids, one of whom, Noel, keeps disappearing. We get 3 shadows, with one darker than the other 2. We get 3 roses, 2 floating in the water and one worn on Liam's chest. And we have Liam holding up the number 3, then 2, then 1, and then the video ends. I reckon the obvious message being communicated through the various 3 things is that you were always one of us, you just had some very slight differences. You were an identical chair, you just were slightly different because you had armrests. You were an identical horse, just slightly different because you had dark patches. But as we are going a little deeper now than the surface level, if this is about Liam wanting reconciliation with Noel and to kind of put the band back together, what has the number 3 got to do with any of that? I actually personally think this isn't about Oasis. I don't think this is about the band. I think this is much more about the relationship between Noel and his family. I think this is actually mostly about the 3 brothers. At this time, there were various reports in the press that Noel wasn't talking to either Liam or Paul, and so had kind of split the family. And so to me at least, the whole message here seems to be less about Oasis and more about being reconciled to his brothers. In fact, when Liam was asked about the meaning of the song and the video, he literally summed it up in just one word: family. And I reckon that 3-2-1 countdown at the end actually also has a connection to the line, "You said we'd live forever." I think this could be Liam saying, "You said we'd live forever, but we both know that in reality we won't. One day there'll be 3 of us, then there'll be 2, then there'll be just 1, and it'll probably be me because I'm the youngest." And then the very last 2 scenes of the video show this. One white horse returns to join the other 2, and then we see the 3 chairs watching the sun go down and the tide coming in, no longer separated. And I reckon the message here could be, wouldn't you rather be sat with your brothers, watching the sun go down, watching the tide come in together, than being shut away in the dark warehouse of your mind, obsessively watching yourself on the projector screen? And then we go into that final montage, in which we see the hands from Michelangelo's The Creation of Adam, in which the hand of God is reaching out to give life to the as yet unliving hand of Adam. And just as I think the message of that last act is, we aren't actually going to physically live forever, let's be reconciled while we can, I think the image of God reaching out to bring Adam to life is kind of Liam saying to Noel, come back to life, come back from the dead. Live your life now, let's be reconciled while there's still time. The biggest and most persistent mystery about this song, however, comes from the opening lines from the opening verse, which say this: "Hey kid, did you know, today 16 years ago, it was you and I for the last time. You angrily said, with a smoke ring around your heads, you would see me on the other side." Now the reference here to someone having smoke rings around their heads, as opposed to head, is a reference to Noel Gallagher being a Gemini, a star sign which is represented by an image with 2 heads. Noel himself has repeatedly pointed out that he's well suited to being a Gemini, saying this: "As a Gemini, I've always had a double personality. But there's still something more about this line that most people actually miss. The official lyrics are, 'You angrily said, with a smoke ring round your heads.' But when you listen closely to what Liam actually sings, he doesn't say angrily, not properly. It is yet another double meaning. He says something weirdly in the middle of you angrily and you and girly. What does this sound like to you? This? You and girly said, with a smoke ring round your heads. Or this? You and girly said, with a smoke ring round your heads. And so, this could be another reason we get smoke rings round your heads. Liam absolutely hated Noel's girl at the time, Sarah MacDonald. And actually, at the time of writing this song, they had butted heads online several times. Liam even went so far as to blame her for the breakdown in relationship between him and Noel. He phrases it carefully enough that it could just be a weirdly pronounced word, but somehow, I think not. It's plausible deniability, in my opinion. That weird pronunciation is intentional. Why else, on a recording that is so carefully crafted, would an incorrect pronunciation be left in the mix? But of course, there we only dealt with lines 3 and 4 from that opening verse. So now, it's time to go down from the middle level to the very lowest level. It's time to take the lift all the way down to the foundations, to the basement floor. We're going to move down now from the symbolism level all the way down to the conspiracy theory level, where we get to have a little fun. Because it's that first line where the real mystery lies. Hey kid, did you know? Today, 16 years ago. While the song itself, I think, is about the family, in this specific line, we know he's talking about the breakup of Oasis because we see the date etched on the door. That literally was when it was the two of them for the last time. And as if to hammer home the importance of that date, Liam released the video on the 10-year anniversary. But obviously, that was the 10-year anniversary, not the 16th. At that time, the date he talks about in the lyrics, the 16th anniversary of the Oasis split, was still 6 years in the future. When Oasis reformed in 2024 and announced the 2025 tour dates, 16 years ago to the date of the Oasis split was actually one of their upcoming gigs. On the 28th of August 2025, they were booked to play their first American date of the tour at Soldier Field in Chicago. So, why on earth did Liam sing Today 16 years ago in 2019? Did he accurately predict the future or something? Was it all part of the master plan? To really get into the meaning of this, we need to examine what various articles outline as the most cryptic and puzzling elements of the video. First we're going to look at the roses, and then we're going to look at the horses. First up, let's look at the roses, the timeline, and some unanswered questions about the scene by the canal. In October 2011, the Stone Roses announced that they were reuniting and doing a world tour. In May 2012, they played their first show at Parr Hall in Warrington, a concert that was captured by filmmaker Shane Meadows. And guess who was at that concert? Liam Gallagher, who is a huge fan of the band and described the Roses as the best band in Manchester. In June 2017, they played their last gig ever at Hampden Park, Glasgow, after which the band split. In October 2018, Ian Brown released a single called First World Problems, in which he can be seen throwing John Squire's early signature pink guitar into a Manchester canal. Ian Brown was the frontman of the Stone Roses. Is it any coincidence that just a few months later we have Liam in a music video throwing a rose into the canal? Again, I don't know. But because all this stuff could be connected, there's a part of me that can't help but wonder if this was Liam's response to Ian Brown in defence of John Squire, with whom he was still mates and would go on to make an album with in the next few years. But finally, we come to the thing that really made my brain melt, which was the 3 white horses. I asked earlier, Did Liam predict the future when he said, "Today 16 years ago"? When I was literally writing this script, I had reached the point where I only had two things left to try and figure out or come up with an explanation for. The first, of course, was the big one. What was that 16 years ago today thing about? And the other was those 3 white horses. I didn't know what they stood for, what they mean, so the obvious first step was to just Google it. I looked that phrase up online, 3 white horses, just to see if there was any commonly held meaning or symbolism or thread. And this is what I encountered literally on a first search. The first result was a song by Andrew Bird, released in 2012. To me, the lyrics look very much like they're about reconciling with someone before you die, and not being alone. Which of course does very much tie in with the themes that I kind of think are there at the end of the video. It was also very interesting to see that Andrew Bird is from Chicago, where Oasis played 16 years ago today. The next thing I found on the second page was this. A piece of artwork by Max Kahn called 3 White Horses. Max Kahn studied at the Chicago Art Institute, and then he taught there later as well. And his picture is currently held by, you guessed it, the Art Institute of Chicago. So that was Chicago twice now. I then discovered that in the Chicago Theatre, this is the mural over the main stage. And Liam might have known that because he and Oasis played that specific venue a few different times in the 2000s. I carried on combing through the results, and next I found this. Another piece of artwork called 3 White Horses, this time by a Swedish immigrant to, you guessed it, Chicago. The next thing I found was a song by a band called Darlingside. The song was called White Horses, all about growing up in Chicago. And by this point I was seeing a very clear pattern. But just to be doubly sure, I googled the question, can images of horses represent Chicago? And Google said yes, and then pointed me to even more monuments of horses all over the city. In Liam's music video, we get the image of 3 white horses. Liam also setting a specific date in the future, the 16-year anniversary of the Oasis split. 3 white horses repeatedly turns up as an image connected to the city of Chicago, and that date, which he references in the lyrics, turned out to be the exact date on which the reformed band played Chicago. Was all of this planned and encoded in there by Liam and Stephen Knight? Or have I just linked loads of dots that don't really exist just to make an intriguing video? Was all of this entirely planned out years ago? Is it all part of the master plan? Or just some random coincidence? Honestly, I don't know. You'll have to figure that bit out for yourselves. And that's the end of the video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, including any imagery or symbolism in the video and song that you think I might have missed. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time. And as always, a massive thank you to all my supporters on Patreon. And if you would like to be credited at the end of videos, to have access to exclusive bonus content and my ad-free archive, the link is in the description, and hopefully I'll see you inside.